War of the Wizards launched on MetaQuest back in 2024, and while it didn't set the world alight, it was well received by the VR gaming community. And here in 2025, we have War of the Wizards Apprentice Edition. So what's new? What's been changed? Why a completely new release? Stick around and you'll find out. War of the Wizards is a PvP wizard combat dueling game. It's actually a tower defense game where you have direct interaction with the battle in. As the wizard, you're able to cast spells to bring creatures onto the map, but also to shoot directly at the enemies, both those that crawl across the map towards your bases and also at your opponent. Shooting your opponent will recharge your mana, which allows you to cast further spells. And these spells are casted by drawing specific symbols in the air with your wand. Should you perform the spell accurately, make your picture quite similar to the symbols that are presented in front of you, it will launch an attack of some kind, either additional troops entering the map or an area of effect spell that will affect the enemy's troops, and so on. There's a lot of variety in the spells that can be casted, and as you progress through the game, or as you engage more with it, you will unlock more spells, new ones that you can try out. And these can be purchased either with in-game currency that you earn for completing matches, or with currency that you can buy. And here's the crux of the difference between War of Wizards and War of Wizards Apprentice Edition. As far as we can tell, War of Wizards Apprentice Edition is purely a repackaging of War of Wizards as a free-to-play game. The original War of Wizards is currently £14.99, or your local currency equivalent, on the Quest Horizon store. War of the Wizards Apprentice Edition is free. You can download it now and jump right in. So I mean, what's holding you back, right? Watch this video and then go and give it a go. And the difference seems to be the access to these spells that you get from the off. The original War of the Wizards gives you much more to begin with, but you can still earn additional spells and upgrades through playing the game. War of the Wizards Apprentice Edition simply has a tutorial with access to a small amount of basic spells, and then you must earn currency or purchase currency in order to unlock new ones. So basically, from what we can tell, it's the same game, but with a different jumping off point. And that's what your £14.99 gets you. So, if you are going to jump into War of the Wizards Apprentice Edition after watching this review, get the free play one, and if you really enjoy it, maybe buy the actual package rather than buying in-game currency. I haven't done the maths, so I'm not sure which one works out the better deal, but both games are still supported simultaneously, side by side, so you can play in one game and be playing against people who own the other. I would suggest that you probably get more by buying the package than you would do by buying in-game currency. But you guys should check that out and let me know if I'm right in the comments below. So the gameplay is largely that you are stood on a platform with a defensive structure in front of you, and then the center battleground, and then the enemy's defensive structure, and then the enemy. In order to cast your basic spell, it's simply point your wand that can be placed in either hand and press the A button to launch a small magical ball. And this will do a small amount of damage to the enemies on the field, and also a small amount of damage to the enemy leader, your opponent. Killing your opponent, the enemy leader, is not actually the goal of the game. What that does, should you bring their health down to 0, is it puts them in a temporary pause so they cannot execute commands, they cannot summon troops or cast spells or anything similar, giving you a slight time advantage. But it also significantly recharges your mana pool. And your mana is what's used to draw the bigger spells, the more elaborate spells. Each of the spells has not only a mana requirement, a cost, but also a cooldown time. So you can't just constantly be executing spells all the time. However, before going into each match, you do have the option to change out your inventory, your loadout, of the spells that you want in that game. So people who are going to get deeply involved in this will work out, this is the total amount of my mana pool, and these spells have different cooldowns and different mana costs, and maybe you can make a loadout that means that you've always got something in your back pocket. You can be using fire spells on the leader and wind spells to slow down the enemy units and lightning spells to summon new troops to the table, and balancing them all in such a way that no matter how you play, you still have something up your sleeve from that limited mana pool and the cooldown restrictions. And this is what makes War of the Wizards interesting. The actual gameplay, it's pretty basic, simple tower defense game, and while there's nothing wrong with it, it's not exactly going to blow your mind. But the options of your loadout, your inventory, and the different spells that you can have, and the different combinations that you can put together are what keeps the game fresh. It keeps it interesting. You do want to continue play to unlock new spells and see what you can pull off, see what tricks you can do on that battlefield. Visually speaking, War of the Wizards isn't exactly incredible, but it's also not bad. During the time we played the game, we didn't have any issues with like frame rate drops or glitches or anything like that. It was pretty simple, pretty straightforward. You can always tell what's happening on the battlefield, except some spells, some of your powerful spells, do emit like lights and things like that when you pull them off, that make it kind of hard to see what's going on in the battlefield. You have to like pivot around them in order to make sure you're being accurate with where you actually shoot them. But aside from that, there's no real issues with the way in which War of the Wizards is presented. It's comfortable in what it delivers, and it's an enjoyable experience. Since its launch, the developers have continuously supported War of the Wizards, and it doesn't seem like that's going to stop anytime soon. While I was playing the game, even when I was playing it kind of like off-peak hours, times when you wouldn't necessarily expect a lot of players to be online, there was no problem in getting any kind of matches, which is great because this is a PvP-only experience. But the fact that there is constantly a stream of players waiting to play means that there is an audience there. And this is a multiplayer game, a multiplayer-only game, that has landed well with the VR community. People are playing, and maybe it's the fact that it's that free-to-play game, and once again, totally recommend you go in and give it a try for yourself after you watch this video. But maybe it's the fact that it's free to play after having spent a year building a reputation is drawing people in. It's making people want to come and experience this for themselves and see if it's worth investing their time and potentially money into.
Great! 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 Victory!
But from my perspective, War of the Wizards Apprentice Edition is definitely worth trying out as a free-to-play game. Get your time in there and give it a try and see if you're actually enjoying it. And if you are, there's the full War of the Wizards package out there that you can buy, or some in-game currency to get yourself some new spells and support the developers in that way. So War of the Wizards Apprentice Edition is essentially a try before you buy. And there's certainly nothing wrong with that in VR right now.